Why do I choose to work, live, and play in Mauritius, Africa? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we are Journey with Us Finances, sharing our financial journey with you while traveling Southeastern Africa. We are digital nomads that have been living in Mauritius for over a year, and we absolutely love it, but we didn't think that we would fall in love with the island this quickly. And in this video, I'm going to share from my perspective why we work, live, and play in Mauritius. Now, this idea of work, live, and play in Mauritius actually comes from their Mauritius Economic Development Bank website, where they say, hey, you can retire, you can work, you can play, you can live your dream life here. And let me tell you, it is so true. So the first thing that I love about living in Mauritius is their residence permits, okay? There are only a handful of digital nomad visas on the African continent. One of my family's values is that we want to live in Africa, but that can be difficult depending on what your business is, whether or not you're a digital nomad, if you're looking for work. Of course, we have people that are in our network that have ended up getting jobs in Rwanda, or they run a business in South Africa, or whatever the thing is. But for our line of work, as founders of a marketing agency of 9 years, as a copywriter, as somebody that works in finance and real estate, I need to be in a place that has the same values as me as it relates to a residence permit. And so the premium visa is literally the best digital nomad visa that exists on the African continent, period. It just is, because it's so simple to get. You need to make $1,500 per month for the main applicant, and then $500 per month per person in your family. You fill it out online, they send you your visa online, and you're good. Like, it's literally that simple. Now, the next reason, this country is so good with infrastructure, like, it just works. Now, I was just talking about how we got to actually fill it out online and all of these things. They sent the visa via email, and that's it. It's so simple. And then we recently went through the renewal process. My husband went up to immigration to check on everything, and it works seamlessly. Like, there's no drama, there's no hoopla, there's no like, oh, secretly pay me more on the side. Like, no. It's just functional. It just is what it is. They process the paperwork, they call it a day, and you get your visa and you get to live your best life, okay? Now, the next reason I like to work, live, and play in Mauritius that I didn't know coming, I mean, I started to understand it when I was still in East Africa, because I've been in Africa for 5 years, okay? It'll be 5 years in August. But I was starting to understand that the housing here is so affordable for the luxury that you get. Mauritius just dominates when it comes to luxury living on an affordable budget, okay? Some of my 2 favorite websites, guys, these mosquitoes right now, it's just a no, okay? But y'all know in Africa, there are plenty of mosquitoes, and it just rained, okay? But the housing in Mauritius, we literally live in a 5-bedroom villa with a pool. I can show you the pool in just a moment. And the price is wonderful. Like, compared to what you would pay in the US for a house like this, it's insane. And so the housing is another one of the reasons that we love Mauritius. Now, if you're new here, you definitely want to subscribe to the members only part of our channel, because that's where we document the whole process. Like, we filmed, documented, recorded, and have 71 videos available for you right now at the tap of your finger. Or actually, it has to be the tap of your mouse, because you need to be on your laptop or desktop to subscribe to members only. But you get instant access to 71 videos of our process going from East Africa to Mauritius, landing here, learning the different cities, the different suburban areas, the different villages, learning where we wanted to live and where we wanted to stay. This can help you on your journey, because my next tip and my next point about housing is that you also, my little caveat is that you need to know what suburban area you want to live in. They're drastically different, okay? So there's different cities, there's different suburban areas you can live in. If you have been Googling Mauritius, if you've been on YouTube University typing in, hey, digital nomad visa Mauritius, 10-year self-employed entrepreneur visa Mauritius, how to retire in Mauritius, what's it like to live in Mauritius, you've been looking at the food, you've been looking at the culture, you've been looking at the people, the history, you are gonna want to get your pen or your Apple Pen and your iPad, whatever it is you're using. You need to get those out right now, because I'm gonna tell you a few of my favorite spots that I would live in as a wife, a mom, and an entrepreneur, okay? So number one is Grand Bay. We live in the North. Grand Bay is a fabulous area. It's an expat area. Some people see it as, oh, I don't want to just live in an expat area. We see it because we have lots of children. Like, they have access to play, they have access to schools, they have access to hospitals, they have access, and some of this is literally in walking distance. They have access to fresh fruits. There's like little fruit stands in some of the areas. So Grand Bay is definitely at the top of our list. And then for our perspective as parents and entrepreneurs, the internet service out here works extremely well, especially if you are using Emtel. EMTEL. Emtel is one of the best internet service providers out here, or at least from our experience, okay? And so we literally pay like $7 on our phone, unlimited internet, and then like $20 for the home Wi-Fi. And like I said, we are a lot of people. My husband and I, we work online in our businesses, have to manage our team, and our children homeschool, and so they take up a lot of energy as well, or a lot of internet as well. And so Grand Bay, the northern area, for the most part, is very good with internet. Now, we lived in the south just for a couple of weeks when we landed, and we were by the airport, and we found that the internet was not that great, even though the internet was like a home Wi-Fi provider in one of the places we stayed in. And so the internet was not that great. Like, I would try to log on and do client work, and my system wouldn't load. I have to use like a huge tech stack. So the internet does have to be pretty strong to do some of those huge tech stacks, like some of these email marketing service providers. And so it was like, okay, this isn't gonna work. I even tried to go to a mall down there. I forget what the mall is called. This island has like 35, 40 different malls, to be honest. And I don't remember what that one down there was called, but we would go there, and it was in an area called Rose Bell. And so I would sit there, try to connect to internet out there. Again, it wouldn't work. So it did have me like, I'm not sure if it's just the island or if it's just the location, but it did turn out that it was just the location. So location matters in Mauritius. Location matters anywhere that you go on Earth. It's beneficial if you can speak to someone or consult with someone who has lived on the island for an extended period of time to understand where you need to live, right? We also live in very safe areas. Mauritius is one of the safest countries in Africa, and then on top of that, we live in a suburban area. And so that's the way that I grew up. That's the way I want my children to grow up. That's one of our other values as well. So let's talk about the play part of being in Mauritius. I'm gonna give you my exclusive details about what you can actually do here with your family. Now, number one, I want to preference that, again, the context is you're speaking to a married woman with children. So we have very strong family values. We're not interested in like clubbing. We're not interested in like going out to the bar. We're not interested in, whatever single people do. So I just want to provide that context because this is coming from the mindset of somebody who is married with multiple children, okay? So parks, number one, there is a plethora of parks here. Parks are something that where we were traveling in East Africa, they were rare. And sometimes you would have to pay for the park. Yes, you would have to pay for the park, okay, in East Africa. And then they even started to like take some of the parks out of that specific area that we were living in that country. And it was like, oh, this is weird, what's happening? And it was just like, okay. Then we arrived here, and the Airbnb we originally stayed at had a park right next door, which was phenomenal. They got to play with the local children. Like, literally, when I say right next door, we would walk out that Airbnb villa, walk down the street a little bit to the left, and then or to the right, and then they would be there. And so that was very amazing that they have parks everywhere. Now, the malls are so beautiful and so artistic. When I say artistic, the malls are so colorful. Like, one of my favorites is La Croisette, but then you also have Richer Terre, and then you have the Cascavel in the south. That one was very nice, okay? They have matcha tea here. It's like a concierge experience that reminds me of like an elevated level of living that I experienced growing up in a certain suburban area, where you would be able to just like go and get your coffee. You could go to like this little reading area. And so it reminds me of that, but even more elevated. The reason I say more elevated is because the way that they do architecture here, especially in the malls, the way that they have the parks, the way that they have the arcades that are clean, the way that the way that they lay out everything from like a childhood standpoint, they have a strong foundation for children, okay? You can tell everybody on the island mostly loves children. You'll go to certain restaurants and a waitress will like want to hold your baby and pick up your baby. You know, kids are just everywhere playing at the park. Parents get the opportunity. You know, a lot of times on Fridays, maybe they'll take off, or maybe they're just going out for lunch and they pick up their children and they go take them to the park. So it's like a thing that everybody does across the island, especially on Fridays. Now, I should also let you know, for playing in Mauritius, there's no shortage of nature adventures, okay? This is what we love as a family. We love traveling, we love nature, so Mauritius is the perfect island where you don't have to leave the island to go on vacation. Like, there are these mountain ranges, these underground waterfalls, these forests. I mean, me and my husband took a walk yesterday in our neighborhood to a new area, like down in the other way, and it was like a forest. It was like a tropical jungle, and it was just the coolest thing. Like, you can literally just walk on this island and it feels magical, like you're walking through some type of tropical jungle. It was just the most beautiful experience on a Saturday, on a Shabbat, okay? And so work, live, and play Mauritius it's given, okay? Mauritius also has affordable boating rides that you can do. You can also go to, I believe the place we went to was Islay Aux Surfs, if I'm saying that right. It's French. Islay Aux Surfs. And when we went there, I got to take my children tubing, which was so fun. Myself, our oldest son, oldest daughter, and our middle son, it was just so fun. We went tubing together. Like, they had like the little tubing boat and the rope tied to the bigger boat, and I thought I was gonna record. The guy was like, no, you're gonna drop your phone, put that down. It was just magnificent. It was so fun. We're boating on this Indian Ocean, going like back and forth, left to right, and we're like, slow down. It was so fun, y'all. It was so fun. And mind you, all of our children can swim, literally all of them. And part of that is due to the fact that they live in a place where they have a pool. So they learn to swim very well because they have a pool right outside the door. Now, the last reason that I love to work, live, and play in Mauritius, and will be doing so for a very long time, is real estate, okay? Real estate in Africa can be tricky, okay? We've purchased property in East Africa. We've gone through the different hurdles, but Mauritius's real estate, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Guys, let me provide some context, okay? So again, I grew up in a suburban area. The house that my dad purchased in about 1998, he purchased this house, and back then it was like $99,000, okay? That's the rate he purchased it at. And by 2022, it was worth $319,000. So he got a really good return on his investment, okay? But it's because he chose the right area. Real estate is all about choosing the right location, okay? And so the entire island of Mauritius, but especially the north, when it comes to owning property, is one of the best places, hands down, on the African continent that you can purchase property in. And by the way, Grand Bay is actually one of the fastest cities in Africa to have millionaires. And part of that, I'm sure, is going to be due to real estate. Real estate makes the most millionaires, period. And so me coming from that perspective, and my dad educating me on that and saying like, hey, you want to have property, and not only do you want to have it, like, but don't buy it in an inner city. Don't buy it somewhere that is just going to not be helpful for you and not get you a strong return. Mauritius has an average of 6 to 9% capital gains. Look it up, y'all. Like, when it comes to owning real estate here, for investments, for living, for whatever it is that you want to do, this is the best place to do it in, hands down. And then you also get financing. So you don't have to pay all cash in Mauritius, actually. If it's your first property and you choose the right bank, like ABSA, Afra Asia Bank, I have an entire list of them that we talk about with our clients behind the scenes, but you can get 70 to 90% financing and put down a down payment. I was literally looking at a property yesterday. Out here is G+2, so you have to, if you're a foreigner, you can only own ground +2, okay? And that's like an apartment or an estate area that's designated for foreigners so that the locals can also keep their properties as well. You don't want to gentrify and stop people from having their own land in their own country, right? And so I was looking at this property and the rate, oh my gosh, 3 beds, fully furnished. When I tell you how much this is, and it may also be due to some of the things that are happening globally, so that's why I'm like, this is the perfect buying time. It was $110,000. I kid you not. With a 10 to 30% down payment, that's gonna run you like 10K to 30K, right? $110,000 for a fully furnished property in a luxurious region on an island. They get you 6 to 9% capital gains. Look, me and my husband, we're gonna start our property search again. We've been searching for about 6 months now and have come across some very great ones, but we're looking at it a little bit differently. We want to make sure that we're making the right decisions. Whenever you're buying property, whenever you're dealing with real estate, you really take your time to ask the right questions to see what's going on. Like, I know my dad and my mom, they had searched for like 2 years. Like, a lot of people will search, wise people will search for years just to understand the market, understand like the areas, understand what's changing in the market, because with that time you get to learn a lot about the area and say, okay, now I know not to go here, or I know I want to go here, or I know, hey, that person was way overcharging, or let me go into this different area. So that's the last reason that we choose to work, live, and play in Mauritius in the long term. Let me know down below, what was your biggest takeaway? And also subscribe to members only if you want to experience us looking for property in Mauritius. We already have a few videos up on our channel and on members only of us looking at properties to purchase for our investment reasons and for our family. And so if you're interested in viewing that experience and coming along with us on the journey virtually, subscribe to members only down below. I'll see you next time. Shalom, shalom, be blessed.